Squad boost ahead of their game against West Ham United as Mikel Arteta conducts his latest press conference and Liverpool take ownership for every celebration that's ever been invented. This is the Arsenal News Show. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show, joining you every single morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. It is very much appreciated. Apologies for the slight late start this morning. I realised I was sitting in the wrong StreamYard studio for a good few minutes thinking, why can't I start the stream? Because it had already been. It was yesterday's stream. But I found my way to this one. Thank you to everybody that liked yesterday's video. I was nervous. I tell you what, I was nervous. For a period of time, I was like, oh, I don't know if we're going to make it. And we did. We made it just very, very just. What I have to say to you is don't rely on others to do the work for you. You're going to have to take ownership yourselves, especially in the weekends. You listening right now, I always say my weekend listeners are the most dedicated listeners we have. Because, you know, getting up on a Saturday after you've been out on a Friday night, or you get up on a Sunday morning, it's commitment. You guys are committed, so committed to this show. Even watching on catch up, I appreciate it so much. So we're relying on you this weekend to really push through the 1K likes every day. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be really hard, but hopefully you can come through today and succeed. So if you have already dropped a like on the video, thank you. If you haven't done so already, please do. If you're listening on catch up, please do. And those listening on audio platforms, we need your help too. Hop over to YouTube. Make sure you drop a like on the video, even if you're a Spotify or an iTunes or an Amazon Music or Google Music or wherever you happen to listen to your podcasts. Hop over to YouTube and help out this campaign that we try and do to the end of the season. Because I tell you what, 5 days in, it was risky. It was risky yesterday. So yeah, please do help out if you can. Good morning to those joining us in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Matt G, Maximius, Peter, Rich, Damien, Glenn, Angela, Paul, Darren, Black Shine, AB, Red Star, Martin, Louis, Amira, Kaiser, George, Babatundi, Gooner from NZ, Stephen, Morgie. We've got Zamin UK. We've got Z. We've got MD. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It is very much appreciated. I hope you have a fantastic weekend so far. Speaking of which, we kick off with this weekend's Premier League fixtures. The first one taking place, Manchester City against Everton at the Etihad Stadium. That's at 12:30 UK time today. Then the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Fulham against Bournemouth, Liverpool against Burnley, Luton against Sheffield United, Spurs against Brighton, Wolves against Brentford. It's a busy day of Premier League action today. So we'll know what Arsenal need to do. We'll know where Arsenal stand come the end of this week, and there might be significant pressure to deliver tomorrow. The late kickoff today is Nottingham Forest against Newcastle, and tomorrow, of course, Arsenal play against West Ham in the early kickoff before Villa play Man United, and on Monday night, Crystal Palace play Chelsea. So we're all Everton and Burnley fans today, so let's just keep those fingers crossed, and of course Brighton as well. Just because we could really do them beating Spurs, because screw Spurs. Anyway, moving forwards, let's go to today's slide, shall we? Arsenal's under-18s drew 1-1 against Leeds in what I think is probably the most telling situation we have so far with the youth team. As we know, we have lost a lot of our youth stars. Lino Souza has gone. Bradley Ibrahim has gone. Charles Saga Jr. has gone. Kion Edwards has gone. We've lost a lot of our stars, and that was telling in the lineup, actually. And it was always going to be very interesting to see what the Arsenal Academy boys did in terms of the lineup for this game, because Lino Souza was really one of the few left-back options we had. In the defence, we had Sweet and Heaven and Kukuri and Robinson playing as Jaheri started in goal, Rosiak and Gower with Uladam Hand in midfield, and Koja Dubry started. He's back in the team. Kamara and Butler Oyedeji were the front three. No space on the bench still for Chido Obi Martin yet. He was involved with, and I expect him to be involved with the under-18s, but still at just 16 years of age. We can't put too much pressure on him. Kabir was on the bench as well, who's also another exciting talent to look out for as well. But I do think that I do think we hope the under-21s are going to suffer, and we'll see what happens with the under-18s. Did I say the under-18s? Sorry, the under-21s. The under-18s will play this weekend, but Yes. Oh, sorry, I've written under 18s on the screen. Why have I done that? The under 18s do not play in the PL2. There we go. That's a 7 a.m. slip. So there you go. Right, moving forwards. Final touches are being made on the deal for Marquinhos to move to Fluminense on loan for the rest of the season. Arsenal, of course, will hope to get a buy option with a significant kind of fee, if you like, involved in this. So let's hope that we can get a good amount of money involved in that deal. I guess we will have to wait and see. Mikel Arteta conducted his press conference yesterday. He talked about a number of topics, including team news, which we'll talk about in a second. I want to focus on the celebration section at the moment. I don't know if you've seen the Curtis Jones interview. Curtis Jones claiming ownership for fist pumping now. I tweeted saying I can't wait to go up to Liverpool and visit the Museum of Celebrations, where clearly everything was invented. But Arteta was asked about the attention that was paid to celebrations. And he says, no, because they told me today. I didn't know anything about it, but I love it. I've seen the managers at the Emirates on their knees on the pitch. I've seen very big managers walking onto the pitch. I've seen managers going across the touchline. I've seen all of that in the Premier League. Personally, I love it because it brings in such passion and emotion to the game when it's done in a natural way and in a unique way. I think it's great. It's my opinion, and a lot of people may have something different to mine. He was asked about Odegaard's photography celebration. He says that's something that happened because there's a relationship. They do it every day here and at the training ground, but people are entitled to have their opinion. When you do something publicly, there are going to be emotions and opinions. Some of them are positive, some of them are not so positive. That's our job, to accept all of that and still behave in what you think is the right way to behave, and make sure that we don't lose that. And then if he was asking if there are any big celebrations after the match, he says, I see a lot of games, and in game 3, game 6, game 8, there are managers and teams celebrating a lot, fans celebrating a lot. It's so tough to win in this league. And for sure, it was a big match for us. You can tell how much it meant from the first whistle. And you could sense the stadium and the atmosphere very different already. It was a great day. And it's true that we just need to learn to celebrate. Stop just taking and sucking all the energy and the joy out of football. It's so boring. Stop claiming ownership for songs and for celebrations and for chants. Grow up. Like, it's really not that deep. He was also asked about the blue card situation. He said, I don't know when we're going to get there, to be fair. We've got a lot going on now with the decisions with technology and what has to come in. I don't know if we're ready for that. And he was asked if he thinks it's a good or a bad idea. And he says, who knows? Hopefully it's going to be tested very well before we introduce it at this level. He was also asked about figures showing there have been a 14% increase in the correct decisions and whether VAR is in a good place. He says, well, if they've done that analysis and we've seen some improvements, that's a really positive thing to hear. That's what we're all willing to hear and what we're ready to expect. I think there was something about that which was like, there may have been a 14% increase in correct decisions, but not for Arsenal. It doesn't feel like that's the case. Maybe it's because it's so bad for Arsenal that it's already got to a position where, sadly, we don't even feel like there's ever going to be any improvements to it. It's so funny. Anyway, let's talk about the team news. He did indeed provide he did provide more information regarding team news. He was asked about Saka, and he said he's been recovering this week and he looks okay. He was asked about Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, and he says we still have a few in contention. They've been evolving really well. So tomorrow we'll have another training session, and we're hopeful that we're going to have a few back that we can put out a very competitive team. He was asked about Thomas Partey's fitness, and he says he's progressing really well, but it's a bit too soon to tell you exactly when we're going to have him back. And he was asked for an update on Gabriel Jesus, to which he said, no update. So, yes, at the moment, no update on Gabby Jesus. Not great, but that doesn't mean that we won't see him involved in the team. Let's hope that we do. I hope that we see Jesus involved in some way, shape, or form, because he's an important player. Even though Havertz will probably be my starter for tomorrow, Jesus, we need to have him back because he provides something very different to what we've already got. And if you want to put something different up on your wall, I can guarantee that this is not something that you may have, which is a signed and framed Ian Wright shirt, which you can win by getting involved in the latest competition courtesy of Football Prizes. Link down in the description. It is a UK-only competition. And there is also an opportunity just by buying a ticket to win a signed Martin Odegaard shirt or a signed Freddie Ljungberg shirt as well. So there's lots of instant wins. Football Prize site credit to get involved with also. So best of luck to everybody that takes a ticket into the competition. Yesterday there was around 70 or so tickets that have been sold. Now 156 have been sold. So if you are not getting on it, there are 140 odd tickets left. and not so long to buy them. So do get involved with the latest competition that runs out on Thursday, the 15th of February. Right, let's move to part 2 and your questions and thoughts and queries and messages right after this. So fantastic, by the way, to see Odin Raven in the chat box saying, I won the Saka shirt prize and it's worth it. Amazing. Congratulations, Odin's Raven. And I hope that you've hung it proudly up on the wall somewhere in your house. Fantastic stuff. Congratulations. I do want to say, of course, with there being it's the weekend, and as I said at the start of the show, we are relying on you to really push us through to that 1K everyday target. The weekends are always really challenging. To get our likes up for this challenge is always going to be really tough. Wait till you get to the international break. That's going to be a different monster entirely. But if you could drop a like on the video, please make sure you do to try and help us get to that 1K like target. So thank you to those that continue to support the channel. It means a lot. Also, there's been a little bit of an addition to the background. You may have noticed I've been doing a little bit of a clear out in the study. And we've now hung up some of our other scarves, which is a Denver Gooner scarf and a Gulf Coast Gooners scarf as well to the background. So I always enjoy it when people send in. And when I say send in, I mean whenever they're over and they can give me, or whenever I was in Chicago, of course, and I was able to add that to the background as well. It's always great getting different supporter clubs from around the world. I've got exclusively American ones or North American ones going on at the moment. So if you are here in the UK at any point and you want to bring over one of your supporter club scarves from wherever you are in the world, drop me a message and I'm sure I can happily take it off your hands to add it to the collection. Right, let's go. Barney says, is Tommy's contract really good news? Yes. That was an easy question to start things off. Shameful One says, best away pubs at West Ham. I'm there tomorrow for the first game. I actually can't help you with that one. Since they moved it away from the bowling ground, Stratford's not really my best, but I mean there's lots of actually good ones down the by the water actually in by Hackney area, but the actual away ground, you'd have to get in touch with some of the supporter clubs here to where the away fans are going to be congregating before the game. Peter says, Tom, can we all agree that Matt G has an Ethernet cable plugged into my router? He's somehow always first. I mean, he's a phenomenon, is Matt G. He's not always first. Sometimes Pikachu gets in. Sometimes others get in. Us and Maximius is very quick this morning as well. And Marcus can sometimes be pretty fast. But yeah, some people are incredibly fast at getting in first in the chat box. So you've got to respect it, Peter. I certainly don't give them any heads up about when it's going to drop. Lee says, Tom, for all the celebrations and the great performances last week, that result will mean absolutely nothing if we get nothing out of the West Ham game tomorrow. Fingers crossed, eh? Absolutely, Lee. You're spot on. Every game is a must win. Every single game for us is a must win. Jason says, what is that thing with the portals on the background? So that is a signed Subfocus and Wilkinson album poster. Not only that, I found this the other day as well, which is really going all drum and bass this morning, but a signed latest album, Evolve from Subfocus album, which kind of, I don't know if it works on cameras. Does it work? It's meant to change. I can see it changing on mine, but it doesn't seem to change. It does. It's one of those, I can't remember what they're called. Do you know what is it? I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a special thing where if you like move the thing around, it changes the image on the screen. So yeah, let's track that down there. But yeah, that's what that is, Jason. So yeah, it's a signed Subfocus and Wilkinson album poster. So there you go. Game Shot says, let's say we get 16 million for Partey. How much would it hurt seeing him ball for City or Liverpool? Even Newcastle and Aston Villa, I think we should keep him after sticking by him for such a long period with his injuries. I mean, he's been so unavailable for us this season. So unavailable that I can never ever kind of argue why we shouldn't let him go and bring someone in that can get us more minutes. I know that he's a really good player. I know that he's very successful in regards to when he's available, he produces such good performances for us. But yeah, I can't say I can't say that if we did get a £15 million offer, that it wouldn't tempt me into selling. I've also found it's called a lenticular image, is what they're called. They're called lenticular images, where if you move them around, oh, there you go. You can see it changing. I needed to get the right angle, but there you go. You can kind of see it changing there. So, yeah. That's what they're called, lenticular images. Rancid says, if we sell Jesus in the summer, we would get our money back. I struggle to see making big money with his injury history in mind. I don't think we need to sell Gabriel Jesus. Yes, he's had persistent injury problems, but if we sign another striker and have him as a bit of as our number 2, we can play in the wide areas as well. I think that's more than the right decision to move for us. Where's that comment from Matt? Matt G says, I'm watching with my missus. Please stop talking about me being really fast. Brilliant stuff. Front Yard says, Tom, I was looking for it. Do you know the name of the Japanese company Arsenal made a kit with? And it looks great. I don't know if it's Japanese or not. Are you talking about the Maharishi? The Maharishi kind of style of it's the camo one, isn't it? But is Maharishi Japanese? I don't know. I don't know what the what's the word? The heritage of it is. But yeah, I don't know where it's from. It does look quite Japanese, I guess. But who am I to judge? Yeah, so that's I think what it is. But yeah, there you go. The Adidas and Maharishi shirt. So go and get it if you haven't already. I've already got it. So it's very nice. Some people don't like it. The missus doesn't like it, that's for sure. She doesn't like many of the Arsenal shirts I buy, to be fair. Yomi says, it's time to sack Edu, Mikel, and the board. We haven't improved on last season. We bought a player that's nicknamed as a donkey now. Time to sack everyone. Yomi's just come back. Not very positive at all. A real shame. Dickens says, hey, Tom, I'd go for Sesko. He seems to be a more flexible Kai at centre forward. I think Sesko's still got a lot to still prove, actually. A real significant amount to improve. Let's go to Benji says, actually, I'd replace, I'd get in Thuram and Kimmich. Marcus Thuram has been very good since going to Inter Milan. He's been absolutely fantastic. Oliver says Maharishi is an Indian brand. There you go. There's clarification on that. Thank you to Oliver. Much appreciate that. Jurgen says, I'm looking sharp. Thanks, mate. Much appreciate that. Always take the compliments, without a doubt. Let's scroll up. I know there are some more questions I definitely missed out on at the start of the show. So let's see if we can try and tackle some of the ones that I missed out on. Let's go to D-Max says, what's the point of the academy boys staying as Arteta never uses them? Shocking record of promoting youth. I mean, when do you use them is the question. There are some games I think we could have used them that we can be better with, but to say that he never uses them is incorrect and factually wrong. I mean, we've established 4 Hale End graduates. He's made 7 senior debuts for some of the Hale End graduates as well. So please do get yourself looking into it in a little bit more detail, because to say he doesn't use youth is obviously incorrect, but he does need to be better. Twinny says, why do so many fans want to sell one of the most versatile forwards in Europe? How many players can you name that can play across the front 3 to the level that Gabriel Jesus can? It would be an amazing squad player for us as well. I don't think we need backups, and I think Jesus wouldn't be a backup. I think you're right. I wouldn't even call him a squad player. I think that he can be a great asset for us moving forwards always. Michael says, you can't be serious with the Joshua Kimmich shouts. I mean, I don't know how you'd ever get him out of Bayern, to be honest. That would be very, very hard to do. He's also 29, which makes me feel so old. I really remember when Kimmich was coming on the scene, breaking through at Bayern, and he's also had a number of injury issues throughout his career, a lot of injury issues. I'm not sure if it's the right one. He came through at Leipzig, didn't he, before he got through at Bayern? I can't remember what age he was when he signed for Bayern. He moved in, let's have a look. He signed for Bayern he was at Stuttgart. So he went from Stuttgart to Leipzig, and then from Leipzig back to Stuttgart, and then from Stuttgart to Bayern. There you go. And actually, he came from if you go really far back, Bossingen Youth, VFB Bossingen is where he came through as well. And then he joined Bayern, and the rest is history, I guess, as well. Apparently, he doesn't like Tuchel, says Benji. At 29 is not exactly a great age to be looking at signing Kimmich. He's just turned 29, actually. I just don't think that makes much sense, especially with his injury record as well. Front Yard says, is there not something to be said with us having one of the youngest squads in the league? Could that be possibly making it hard to introduce further youngsters, especially when competing? Absolutely. It is certainly, I think, time to consider moving forwards with, I think anyway, moving forwards with the idea that this young squad is going to grow and go to different places where other teams haven't had that same level of high of a ceiling, if you like. And that does create barriers for younger players to come through. But also you need still, I think there are times where you can give those young players an opportunity where we haven't given those young players an opportunity. Adam says, speaking of celebrations, of all the players from the Premier League era, which gunner had the best celebration? Mine goes back before the Premier League to 1971 in the FA Cup final with Charlie George. It's iconic, that celebration. Of course, I'm trying to think of my favourite Arsenal celebrations going back through the years. Oh, I mean, I loved the Thierry Henry in the Bernabeu. I talked about it on the other show the other day. Just the way in which he ran away from that goal after he'd just run past everybody was amazing. The Thierry Henry against Spurs during when he ran the length of the field and then scored and then ran the length of the field again and knee slid in front of all of the Spurs supporters, which is the image I've got on the background there. I can see it just in the corner of your screen there. So yeah, some amazing celebrations we've had. Off the top of my head, though, it's actually quite hard to think of them. I'm sure you guys have plenty of them. Let's go to Ajmal says, does anyone fear our game against West Ham? Would classic Arsenal gift points to teams who are struggling to get a win? I think that West Ham have proven this season, of course, that they are not someone to underestimate. They're not someone that we should be taking lightly. And we need to consider the fact that they've beaten us twice already, and we need to go there with something of a point to prove in some ways, that we can go there and win. I think Declan Rice has in particular got a bit of a point to prove because he's gone there twice. It'll be his third game against West Ham this season. Really difficult as well. Kazang says, what's your thoughts on the blue cards? I did talk at length yesterday about the blue cards. In short, I think the idea works, but problem is you don't have the people to implement it correctly, so there's no point in trying to. Fuad says, I heard Henry yesterday on American television last night, and he was mentioning how all the top players in the world should be playing seven aside. Is that where you're going to go with that, Fuad? I look forward to the end of that sentence you've stopped before the end. I look forward to it. Adam says Robin van Persie against Charlton is my favourite celebration. Yeah, where he runs up into kind of the stands and just kind of stands there with his arms open. That is a brilliant celebration as well. Oliver says we have to beat West Ham. I can't believe we lost twice to them this season. Absolutely. Benji says our players actually don't have good celebrations. The best I can think of is Eddie's, and the need for that marketability is honestly there. I love the idea of players coming up with more of their own types of celebrations. Jesus does the same thing as well as Eddie with the phone celebration. But yeah, I'm trying to think of others. Kai Havertz does his one, I guess. You've got Kai Havertz's celebration. Anyone else? Bukayo Saka does the standing with the corner flag, doesn't he? Martinelli, I don't think has got a speed. He just loves a knee slide. Does Martinelli? To be fair, Martin Odegaard just loves a bit of a fist pump. Although he stole that from Jurgen Klopp, he's probably going to get arrested for that. To be fair, because Jurgen Klopp invented those and patented those and copyrighted those. So yeah, there you go. Fuad says, should be playing 70 games a season. Sorry, kind of what Mikel talked about when Saka and everyone was saying that he gets overused. It's a good listen, and I'd recommend it. The idea is that players should be able to play 70 games. I absolutely get it as well. Trossard, yeah, you're right. Trossard's binoculars celebration as well is another one. So it turns out we do have more than maybe we thought we did. But yeah, it turns out there is more than we thought. Anyway, we're going to bring the show to a close there. I've got to go and do the morning shop today, so plenty of jobs to do. Thank you for listening. Do drop a like before you go. As I said, we rely on you weekend people to really push us through with this challenge. So if you haven't dropped a like on the video, please make sure that you do. It would mean the absolute world. I'll be back hopefully a little bit later on this afternoon for a preview looking ahead to the game against West Ham. So make sure those in the Discord server look out for a message about coming on, probably around 4/5 in the afternoon. Probably about 5 after the 3 o'clock games have finished. That will probably be when we do the preview show. So look out for that one. Have a fantastic day. Enjoy your Saturday. Relax if you can. If you're working, get through it. It'll be, the evening before you know it. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. And as always, up the Arsenal.